Halliwax here, back in the shed. Got Anakin Starkill still with me.
Still here.
And we got, what do we got here? What do we got here?
This is TXQ and mine. So TXQ contacted me about a year ago, and I've done some design work for them in the past. I did the Book of Boba Fett, Luke Skywalker, and they wanted to do a V2. So they contacted me and they asked me to design a V2 specifically for them, not just like my model, but like not the DS2, but like, you know, they wanted to do their own version of it. Now, knowing TXQ's product line, how they sell sabers, how they're marketed for, I made some changes because they're, first of all, FX is always like their main component, right? They make light up lightsabers. That's their bread and butter. Secondly, they usually do a sort of idealized version of each saber. They're not selling to customers that are focused on sort of warts and all, like where was the ding, where was the set screw and everything like that. They focused on selling to fans who want to hold in their hand what they imagine Luke Skywalker's lightsaber to look like, right? So with that in mind, I put together a CAD model that seemed to work well with them and work well with the rest of their product line. There are things that are different about this than the DS2. It's in some ways like the overall dimensions are based upon the stunts that we know about, right? The V3, the V2. So overall, you're going to look at similar proportions. The major differences are on the original props. Each one of these grips is going to be different. TXQ wants them uniform because they're, you know, not looking for something that was made in the shed. They were looking for something that was sort of made in the galaxy far, far away.
And a lot of people prefer that too.
Yeah. The way that these are milled, right? All of these polymer cubes are going to be symmetrical. There's a sort of, there's a chamfer in here that wouldn't be on the original because of the way they were cut. But this is in line with the way that TXQ produces their sabers. The graphic stamp here, you'll see it's a little bit shinier than a normal graphic stamp. They went for a chrome look rather than a brush look.
But with chrome, it's easier to dull it.
Oh yeah,
with a clamp, it's easier to take it from bright to dark than it is dark to bright.
That's 100% true. The clamps on my DS2 and the perfect cast that we did, they didn't quite hit. Now, it's okay because those are both weathered sabers, and so you can modify them a little bit. But with this, what you're probably going to want to do if you want to go a little bit more film accurate is just brush it with a little steel wool, and that'll replicate the brush look of an original reflex cam. It's going to come more or less complete, or it's going to come complete. It's going to come like this, right? The full saber, it's wired for electronics. It's got your activation card. It's got your cone knob. It's got your mystery chunk.
The mystery chunks, they did a great job with mystery chunk.
Yeah, the mystery chunk is quite a nice design. Replicates the original quite faithfully. Cone knob, same dimensions as the ones I've been producing. The knurl looks a little bit more like the knurling pattern that you'd see on the Solos Hood one. Those varied wildly.
All the vintage ones are different.
Right? So it disassembles into some sort of strange, like interesting versions of it, right? Like this booster comes off splitting here instead of the DS2, it splits down here. This is wired up. They have a metal chunk here that contains all the electronics. They replicated my a sort of a newer version of my my long lever, and it'll be installed here with electronics.
This has the SN Pro in it now too.
The SN Pro, right? This took a while because we were waiting for the new electronics to come through. So when it did, they finally put it into production. This will be your bladed emitter, sort of replicating the look you see on like the Book of Boba Fett saber and the Mandalorian saber.
And what I've noticed is it's just a little bit. Is it bigger? This is more of a V3, and this is more of a V2, I think. Yeah, this lip is just a little bit wider.
When I designed this, I actually sent them drawings for like multiple versions of this to do a V2 or a V3. So at some point, they might do another production run where it doesn't have the cone knob, where there's no hole drilled here, where there's a flat emitter, and then where all the colors here match the V3 with the copper on the neck and the chrome.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It'll come with your vented pommel cap that has the the AS logo. I've been putting on my sabers for a while.
I love that logo.
And then the static one, yeah.
We should get AS logo T-shirts.
I have them. I keep them in New York City, where we're not currently. I know. I meant to bring all of my Halliwax swag for the videos.
We could really go for some AS hooded sweatshirts right now.
Yeah,
92 degrees.
I think we'd die in those. So this has their new SN Pro. It's got a static cap. It's got the vented cap.
One thing I'd like to mention is James did a hell of a job with the D-ring. I love it.
Originally he said, I sent him the model and it didn't have a D-ring, and he's like, "Where's the D-ring?" And I was like, "Just grab a D-ring." Like,
oh, he didn't make that?
No, they did. So then he came back and he's like, "No, send me the CAD model." I was like, "You need a CAD model for the D-ring?" He's like, "Yes, we're going to make those." I didn't realize they were going to make them. I thought they were going to use an off-the-shelf item, but they didn't. They produced these from scratch. So I drew that.
Did you?
Yeah, I drew that up in CAD.
Oh wow, man!
And then they produced them to match that. So.
Oh, now that you have it drawn up in CAD.
I know. I'll hit them up for a couple of those just for my own sabers.
That's awesome. Yeah. I had no idea that you did that.
Let's see. Oh, the construction. Another thing that was kind of funny. It disassembles, actually, like the Obi-Wan saber, like an actual MK1 grenade. They have this part sectioned out, sort of.
And it comes anodized.
Mm-hmm. Comes anodized, so you don't have to remove you don't have to worry about getting the grips. But there's a lot of work that can be done for this. In the future, they might do a weathered version. That was the original idea, but then they had some production hiccups in getting the weathered version with stencils. And so they decided to just release a clean version first and then potentially follow up with a weather version. But I think what we have right now is a really good base for doing your own weathering.
That's what I say too.
The V2, one of the cool things about it is it existed in so many different forms in the filming of the original 3 movies and then even today. So it's Obi-Wan stun saber with one paint scheme. It shows up in the Sandstorm with a new paint scheme. By the time Luke's catching in the sail barge, there's a different look to it. And then in the throne room and the Ewok village, there's a different look to it. So I designed, so you can try to pick up some Trent stencils and throw them on here. I think that would make a really cool post-production version. It wouldn't quite fit. You'll have to do a little jiggery pokery to make everything line up because the dimensions are slightly different. Yeah.
Not too bad.
The other option, though, is I designed some stencils for this that represent not the post-production like Trent's does, but that actually represent how it looked in the throne room / sail barge scene. And they were meant to be sort of branded onto the saber originally. When that didn't happen, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to send those files to Danny, and he's going to have them available through his Patreon. So if you sign up to his Patreon account, you will have express tutorials on how to do different weathering patterns with this saber. Take you step by step, replicating whichever version you want. And then also you'll be able to access those, those tools like the weathering stencil patterns, so that you can add the different.
Yep, I'll have those files.
Finishes that you want.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with this. I think James did a good job.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I've already seen that they're on some websites.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my friend Max messaged me yesterday, and I was like, "Oh wow, they're already on their website."
Yeah, it's exciting. I'll look forward to seeing these sort of show up. One of the funny things about the Book of Boba Fett sabers and some of the other ones I've designed is watching them show up in other places
everywhere,
and people talk about finding their saber and have no idea where it came from or who designed it.
You're not pissing me off so much.
What?
As you go on the YouTube and they're like, "Luke's Return of the Jedi saber." You can see me on there no, I have an edit copy paste. It's no, this was designed by my friend Anakin Starkiller at StarsM.com.
I have had some funny conversations where people tried to educate me on the history of it.
Oh yeah?
It's it's actually not quite right because I was the one who designed that one.
There's actually a guy, he's got a pretty big following on there, and he mentioned me, but he goes, Halliwax custom sabers.
Oh,
close.
Yeah.
But
what are you gonna do?
Yeah. No, I want to personally thank James for sending this out to me because he sent it to Starkiller. Starkiller brought it up to me to check out. And I'm going to do another video where this is installed with Snv4 Pro. So I don't know too much about it. I have to watch some YouTube videos on the options and what you can do. So I'm going to do some homework, and then I'm going to make another video of me going through this with all the electronics.
It's definitely going to be my son's favorite because it's actually installed and makes all the lights and sounds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he and I were playing with this last night. He was having a blast.
Yeah?
He's just learning his colors, so I would switch through all the different ones, and he would just shout it out every time.
No, sir.
Yeah, we had a great time.
How old is he now?
He's 2.
Time flies.
2 going on 30.
He's going to be a football player, that kid.
He's
a giant. The kid's 2 years old, and he's a giant.
Yeah, my wife took him to he grabbed a soccer ball at a playground the other day, and he just commanded that thing. I think we got an athlete.
When I went to your house, he picked up a whole chair. He walked with the chair, and that was back in March. You know. So.
Well, sometimes they'll play with kids and they'll be like, "What's wrong with how can you get talking?" We're like, "Because he was 1." he looks like a 4-year-old.
Oh shoot!
Yeah.
But no, I want to thank you for running this up to me and all the work you put into it. I think it's a hell of a job.
It's always exciting to see it actually come alive.
And again, special shout out to James at Txq for hooking me up with this.
Thanks, James.
Thank you, James. You're going to see another video shortly.
Sounds good.
You have anything else you want to say?
I think that's it.
All right, we're going to wrap it up then. I want to thank you all for watching. Keep an eye out for the next video. And most importantly, be kind to one another. This is Halliwax.
Starkiller.
Out.
You're going to take this ankle bracelet off me now, right?